Hey everybody, it's Benny One, and I'm back at you with another Star Wars movie review, everybody, and we're moving on to Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, everybody. That is correct. The most divisive and fan-dividing movie in the Star Wars franchise, everybody. This movie literally took the Star Wars fandom and split it right down the middle. Some people love this movie, and some people just absolutely hate the hell out of this movie. I used to be one of those people that was on the hate side, and I still don't approve of a lot of things that they did in the movie, but the more I've watched the movie, I've learned to like it a little more. But yeah, the movie's very divisive. People either love it or they freaking just hate the hell out of this movie. It divided the Star Wars fan base, completely. I remember when it came out, I totally went to the freaking midnight premiere, all that jazz, and I remember walking out of the movie theater with my wife, and she looked at me and she was like, "So, what did you think about it?" And I just was like, I looked at her and I was like, I don't really know how I feel about what I just watched. I was like, it was beautiful movie. It looks amazing, everything. But I was just like, I don't really know if I liked it that much. I did not. I had the complete opposite feeling that I had when I walked out of The Force Awakens. When I walked out of The Force Awakens, I was like, oh shit, Star Wars is back, baby. It is back and it is raring. Everyone's excited. And then The Last Jedi came out and it literally sliced it in half, and it was interesting. The stuff that they chose to do with the story in this movie, I still don't get some of it. So, all of our cast has returned for this movie, and Mark Hamill is actually in this movie, because, the last movie ended on a really big cliffhanger. One of the biggest cliffhangers in movies, I would say, especially in these type of movies. So it does pick up shortly after that. We get to see this opening scene with Poe and the Resistance, escaping the planet that they had their base on from The Force Awakens because it's about ready to get blown up. That's one thing that Rian Johnson was the guy that wrote and directed this movie. And you know what? The guy's an awesome film director. He can capture beautiful shots. The movie's beautiful. This is probably the best looking Star Wars movie. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's not. Because the story, I have issues with the story. This is probably the best looking Star Wars movie when you talk about the set pieces, the colors they chose to use with stuff, the choreographing shit with the fights, and just, it literally is the best looking Star Wars movie. But man, Rian Johnson, I feel like everything that was built up and established in The Force Awakens, it was like Rian Johnson had an issue with it and he wanted to tear it all apart and just deconstruct it. I don't really understand why. And this is where I guess I'm confused, because Kathleen Kennedy said that they had 3 directors picked to do these movies. JJ was doing the first one. Rian Johnson was doing The Last Jedi, which he did. And then Colin Trevor was doing the third one, the guy that did Jurassic World. He was going to direct and write the third movie. And she's like, they've all worked together, they've collaborated, and all this shit and worked together. Well, then they didn't like what Colin Trevor was doing with the third one, so they canned his ass. And then JJ got brought back on after The Last Jedi came out because of what happened with this movie. And that's where, if these guys sat down and worked on this story together, I don't believe it. Because these 3 movies are just so incohesive and they don't flow together. It's just so strange. Because I swear to God, The Last Jedi just seems like it was out to destroy everything that was built and established in The Force Awakens. It just was all torn down and destroyed. And I'm not really sure why. they went that route. I don't get it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can see what Ryan was doing with Luke Skywalker. I can see what he was doing because he's doing that Jedi Master thing. When they screw up, they turn into hermits and they go into hiding. I understand that. But where Luke Skywalker was left off from Return of the Jedi and all the books, the novels, the comics, I know Disney threw all that shit out. He was a badass Jedi. He redid the Jedi Order. He was building the Jedi Order back up. And I just don't feel, with the flashback scenes that we got and what happened between him and Ben Solo, I don't feel like they explained to us enough of why Luke was the way he was in this movie. Because the Luke Skywalker that we were left off with in Return of the Jedi, and that's the thing he needs to understand, Ryan did, as us fans, you got to do a better job leading us down this path of taking one of our most favorite heroes in cinema and just totally tearing his character down to nothing, to where he's literally not even nothing of resembling of what Luke Skywalker was in Return of the Jedi. That is still my biggest issue with this movie. And the one thing that I absolutely hate about this movie is what they did with Luke Skywalker. Because that is not, I don't care what anyone says, that's not what Luke Skywalker would have done. I could see him going to the island and all this shit, but like he fought Rey so much and just told her that no, like, I'm not going to come help you. There's nothing that I can do. And it's just, and they did show Luke using the Force. They showed him using the Force in a very badass way that killed him, basically. I mean, he projected a physical presence of himself across the galaxy, for Christ's sakes. That is probably one of the most powerful things a Jedi could probably do. But, damn it, we all wanted Luke to be badass. Like the shit from The Mandalorian, the season 2 ender of Mandalorian, that wasn't even freaking Mark Hamill. They had him being a badass. Like, that's what we wanted. Like, we wanted some shit of him being a Jedi Master and shit. Like, but we got this old, grumpy ass hermit that throws his lightsaber off to the side of his shoulder and just says, I don't fucking care about any of this shit. I just don't buy into that. Because they didn't do a good job of taking us to that point. We got these brief backflashes of it, and it wasn't good enough. If you're gonna do that to this character, you gotta explain it and bring us down this journey better. I'm sorry, you just do. We got to see Leia do some shit, Mary Poppins flying through space crap. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. When she got sucked out into the vacuum of space, she would have instantly died. I'm sorry. I know it's a movie. It's a sci-fi movie. It's a Star Wars movie about space wizards and shit. But, like, I'm sorry. I just don't buy... I didn't buy that at all. The movie, it's entertaining. It has entertaining parts. I mean, the space fights are good. The lightsaber fights in the movie are great. They kill off Snoke. Just, like... And that's another thing, too, is like Snoke is supposed to be the big, bad, blue emperor character in the movie, in this trilogy, but then he's just killed. Like, just like that. Like, he couldn't sense that Kylo was doing that, and he's so powerful. Like, he made Rey look like a puppet. Like a little puppet in that throne room. And he couldn't sense that Kylo was doing that shit. I'm sorry. And the Canto Bite shit, the Canto Bite thing with Finn and Rose, that whole sequence was pointless to the story. It was pointless. It was a cool little location and setting, but it literally was pointless. Just pointless. There was no point of it. Yeah, the movie's, it's frustrating. I have learned to enjoy it more over the years, because I do rewatch it quite a bit. I think I've seen it about a dozen times now, and I have learned to like it more because there is cool stuff in it. Like, we get a cool scene with Luke and Yoda. It just harkens back to Empire Strikes Back. And that's the thing, is there's stuff in this movie that are callbacks and almost they redo like stuff from Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. So everybody hates on The Force Awakens for copying A New Hope. Well, this movie copied shit from Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So this movie did it too. So it's not everybody just blames JJ for copying A New Hope. Well, this movie copied shit too. So it has good stuff in it. It really does. But the story choices that Ryan chose to go down, and I just don't see how him and JJ sat down and worked this out together, because he tore apart JJ's movie, and the story itself is really simple in the movie. The Resistance is literally going to run out of fuel, and they're staying at a safe distance from the First Order so that they don't blow up, and then they eventually get to a planet where they can hide. That's literally the gist of this movie. It's nothing crazy, nothing over the top. It's just simple. And it doesn't really take the story as a whole for this trilogy and move it forward. All it does is it deconstructs everything that was built and put in place in the first movie, The Force Awakens. That's all this movie did. It didn't move the story forward or nothing. It just kind of left it in a just ugly, nasty spot. Like that hopelessness feeling that they kind of had at the end of Empire Strikes Back. They leave you with that in this movie, which is cool. But it doesn't really do anything to set up the third movie. Like, at all. So, I don't know, guys. I could probably sit here and talk about this movie for 30 minutes easily. So, but I most definitely am not going to make a 30-minute movie review. Holy crap. So yeah, guys, like I said, this is one of the most divisive movies. It is the most divisive movie in the Star Wars franchise. It divided the fans. I'm on the side of really not liking it still. I don't hate the damn movie though, like I used to, because I used to hate this movie a lot. But I've learned to enjoy it a little more. So, but as a score, for me, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because it is the best looking Star Wars movie when you judge it on that side of the movie. But when it comes to the story, the characters, and me being a big Star Wars fan, it knocks it down because of the way that they went, the route they went with the characters. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, everybody. So that was my review for Star Wars The Last Jedi, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed that review. Thanks for watching, and be catching you on the tube later because I have spoken.